Good morning, I'm Tracy Matthews with the Campbell County Chamber of Commerce Business Advocacy Committee, and this morning I'm with Megan Degenfelder. Megan's running for Superintendent of Public Instruction. Good morning, Megan.
Good morning, Tracy. Thank you so much for having me.
You bet. If I could ask you to give a brief introduction.
Sure. My name is Megan Degenfelder. I come from a sixth-generation Wyoming ranching family. I grew up in Casper, attending public schools there, graduated from the University of Wyoming, and hold a master's degree in economics. And I've had the great opportunity to be able to build my entire career right here in Wyoming. I lived in Gillette for several years, working for Cloud Peak Energy in the coal industry, and have also worked in oil and gas, and then also worked in the education space as a cabinet-level position at the State Department of Education.
Thank you. So Megan, why are you running for this office and why should I vote for you?
Great question, Tracy. Being born and raised in Wyoming, a product of our public education system, I had so many opportunities and the ability to build a successful life and future here. And it's really important to me that we continue to provide those same opportunities, better opportunities, to our future generations in this state.
And then tell me what specific expertise you will lend to this role.
So I come with a background both in the private sector as well as education. In the private sector, as I mentioned, I work in the coal industry and now currently in oil and gas, where my sole responsibility is to push back against harmful regulations, push back against the federal government. As it pertains to education, I served under the previous superintendent, Jillian Balow, in the cabinet position of Chief Policy Officer. And during that time, we made meaningful budget reductions, we consolidated staff, and we worked with the legislature to update the state's educational basket of goods for the first time in 20 years. So I'm really hoping to bring that expertise both in the private sector as well as education together to bridge the gap between all of our education stakeholders in the state.
And then lastly, if there's anything else that we haven't discussed that you would like the voters of Campbell County to know about you, this is your time.
Sure. I think for our elected officials, we expect accountability. I am deeply rooted in Wyoming. I love Wyoming. My family's here, my friends are here, my career is here. I'm accountable to the voters of Wyoming. I'm accountable to the state. The other thing that I should mention that the state superintendent does is serves with the other 4 statewide elected officials on the State Land Board, the State Loan and Investment Board, and these boards are extremely important. They manage the development on about 4 million acres of state land that pays for our schools, and they also oversee the investment policy for the state, which includes about a $25 billion portfolio. So it's really important that in addition to education qualifications, that we have folks in this position of superintendent that understand our Wyoming communities, understand our needs, and ensure that they're accountable to the state. So some of my goals as superintendent are to empower parents, ensuring that they have a voice and a seat at the table, and we have the greatest partnership possible between our great teachers and our parents. I'd also really like to prioritize partnership with industry. Coming from the private sector and education as well, I still see that partnership could be improved. At the end of the day, we want to prepare our kids for high-paying jobs right here in Wyoming. And we do that by partnering with the workforce, making sure that we're nimble enough in our education system to meet those needs. And then I'd also really like to cut the red tape and make sure that at the State Department, we're making it as easy as possible for our teachers and districts to do their jobs, and we're getting out of the way of their great work. I'd also like to improve literacy rates across the state, work with our districts to do so, and make sure that we're maintaining local autonomy in all of our districts across the state.
Thank you.